My name's Lawrence. I'm from Honda Research and Development. We're at 2021 SEMA show. We're fortunate to be able to bring to you Team Honda Research West 2022 Civic Si race car. We have two of them actually, and the sister cars are set to debut the 2021 25-hour endurance race that NASA is hosting at Thunderhill. The new SI, even though it's sitting on the same chassis, it has a brand new subframe which is aluminum, so it's a little stiffer. And then the track is a little bit wider. I think it's about 50-some millimeter wider. And wheelbase is 35 millimeter longer. So actually the character is very similar, but it's actually very solid in terms of mechanical grip. So we like how the car is out of the box, but as with all other front wheel drive, if you run square tire setup, it does tend to understeer a little bit. So you'll notice that we have a new splitter setup and also the rear wing setup so that we can make the car a little bit more tail happy for all the slow corners. And then hopefully all the sweepers, the rear end will be held down by the wing, which supposedly can generate 300 pounds of downforce at 100 miles an hour. Obviously for racing, there's a lot of things that we do. Trying to make big horsepower is actually not one of the priorities for endurance racing because reliability is the biggest key. And so we have done a lot of things to make sure that the car has proper cooling, and also we get rid of things that is unnecessary for our purpose. And engine's literally stock, except we actually removed the catalytic converter so that it's not a giant heat sink. And then obviously the hood, as you can see, it's designed that we actually designed it in our CATIA before we actually made it, so that it can properly cool the car based on the way we would use the car. And of course, we have a #4 engine mount to make sure that every time you go forward, you're not losing energy by having the engine rocking back and forth, because it actually, breaks all kinds of stuff when we drive the car hard. Brakes and suspension, obviously, are very standard things we do to race cars to improve handling. For endurance racing, it's not exactly the same because we're pedal to the metal most of the time. So yeah, we do need a bigger tank. But one thing I'd like to mention about this car, how it's special, is because the new car has a much better all-around visibility compared to the outgoing Civic. And that's one thing that Honda has discovered, that in terms, we call it dynamic visibility. So as the car design evolved and we try to do pretty wild and aggressive body lines and stuff on the car, but customers start not being able to drive the car or park the car as well as they should. So based on research, we found out that customers would actually drive better when they have indications of where they are about relative to the road and the car. So you will notice that the A-pillar of the car were pulled back. And when you pull back, you can actually see better. Compared to, say, maybe 10, 15 years ago, when we had cars that were really one box design where the windshield has a lot of rake, well, not rake as in very, very flat, very, very fast, and where the base of the windshield is literally on top of the damper housing. And what happens with that is, for racing, you drive through the corner, you get to the apex, you're trying to figure out which side of the pillar you should be looking at. We try to extend that kind of R&D when we design actual Civic. What is it that we look for? And we put all those ergonomics requirements into our race car. So we intentionally design the whole cage based on the driver's eye point, where the driver will be looking at, and from the shortest guy to the tallest guy, and then you design the cage based on that. So if you jump into this car versus other cars that has FIA cage, you'll notice the visibility between the door mirror, between the stiffener tubing, the visibility of the door mirror, it's just going to be better. So that's where you're going to discover same horsepower, same weight, but just because the visibility is better, you can actually drive faster and safer. Nowadays, everybody can easily design a car based on competitors, right? You can make an Excel sheet. Oh, do we have wood trim here? Do we have chrome there? What size wheel, engine, this and that? You can check all the boxes. Then what is the winning strategy? How do you make your car better? So we try to make sure that we make the cars are really, really easy to use and easy to drive.